he's here today presenting for us because I really admire what he does. So without further ado, we're going to welcome Gabe Couch with Made by Few.
Thanks, Jordan. First off, I want to thank 1 Million Cups for having us out, and more importantly, everybody that came out this morning. I think these events, they're nothing without the community and people supporting them, so it's a huge deal. And again, thanks for coming out and listening to us today. So today I'm going to talk to you about Made by Few. I want to kind of give you a brief history, what we've done over the last 3 years or so, a little bit about myself, how Made by Few and the people involved have kind of affected me and changed kind of my journey over the last 3 years. And then I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on in, I guess, 2.5 weeks or so with Made by Few 2014. So Made by Few, as you see, it's the conference for makers of the web. This is our 3rd year. It started off in 2012, a little bit smaller. It was kind of a homegrown deal. It came up by me and Arlton having a beer one day, and just having talks about what we were doing, day-to-day jobs, and we're like, let's do something we care about. And from there, it kind of, we kept throwing ideas around. Arlton has amazing experience in organizing conferences. So we kicked it off, went great. We had Christian Anderson from Arkansas come speak. We had friends from Treehouse, Ellis Labs, and Less Everything. Alan Branch, who is involved with Less Accounting and all that. Last year we kind of scaled it up a bit. It was great. We had it at the Presidential Library. Had some amazing speakers. We brought in the CEO of Threadless, Jake Nichols, my actual design idol in a way, James White, who was a great speaker. And again, something that we try to do with the conference is bring in somebody who is from Arkansas originally or has lived in Arkansas that's doing things outside the state. So last year we brought in Crystal Beasley, UX designer at Mozilla, senior UX designer. So that was a pretty cool experience to see her doing things outside the state and really making a change in how we use the web and adding to the community. So a little bit about myself. I'm Gabe Couch. I'm a designer at Few. Co-founder of Made by Few and Tagless, which is an internal project that we just launched, and we are within the ARC this year. So thanks for all the other teams coming out today. I see a few. So a little bit about my journey, I guess, since that talk me and Arlton had some odd years ago. I was working at Arkansas Blue Cross Blue Shield, where I had the opportunity to move to Fayetteville to work for a large startup called Acumen Brands. So we were a part of the team that relaunched Country Outfitter at the time. The experience from that was pretty intense. We went from when we relaunched Country Outfitter, I think we were at 10,000 Facebook likes, and when I left Acumen, we were closer to 2 million or so, and that was over the course of a year. So pretty intense growth and moving fast, so that was great. Since then, I've worked with some companies, P&G, Unilever. I worked on the Axe and the new X-Men campaign for in-store stuff with a company called Burroughs North America. But over that, the one thing that I really missed and was looking forward to every year was working on Made by Few with Arlton, David, and some of our friends that have helped out. And started really making me think about what I wanted to do, like where I saw myself, like it just made me ponder a lot because I enjoyed that experience so much every year. And it started making me think about stuff. And something I learned through everything is, especially all of us starting businesses, being entrepreneurs, it comes with some strife and some resistance sometimes. It's something that there's no real beaten path to do. Let's see. I live by Forge Yourself. And I like to play on words. One of the statements within this community, the fake it till you make it thing, I despise that phrase for some reason. Well, I guess there's good reason in a way. I had a good conversation with my friend Jesse, and he was like, he felt the same way, and he's like, let's make it until we make it. I mean, you may have failures, you may have things, but keep making. Failures you learn as much from as being successful, maybe more sometimes. And the whole forging comes from blacksmithing. It's a hard process. It's heat, like, you're the metal being broken down, beaten up, until you come out as this well-made, sharp object that's just beautiful, handcrafted. So kind of the thought behind that. Something that I really live by overall. It's something my grandma told me, I don't know, like every time I saw her. And at the time I didn't really know what it meant. I was like, oh, my grandma was being nice, or telling me to be nice. And I think what she meant was being nice isn't always putting a smile on, or it's doing things for the right reason. It's, if you need to have a close friend and you need to give them maybe feedback they don't like, but to better them, that's what it's about. It's about being transparent and honest with the people you care about and the community you're around. I think that's how things grow. I think that's how they develop, is constructive criticism, as Jordan mentioned, with input on speakers and questions. I mean, that's a huge thing. So yeah. So recently I did a interview with Crafted in Arkansas, and one of the questions was, do you consider yourself successful? Which to me, it's kind of a weird word. You have these connotations that we're grown up to understand what success is. And I was like, no, and I really started thinking about what success means to me. And I think happiness is success, which, goes back and forth. But I think then you have to really define what happiness is to you specifically, because success, there's no boilerplate for it, in my opinion. So this is obviously not the real definition of success. It's kind of my thoughts on it. I think it's the awareness of being happy. I mean, there's times where everybody's heard the phrase, you don't know what you had till it's gone. I think it really takes awareness and understanding and being able to step back and be like, I'm happy in what I'm doing, or I'm happy in this moment, which when you find that, I think you should go for it. Once you find that thing that really outweighs all the bad and makes you happy. And to me, that's success. And in a way, I feel successful because now, it's been a big year for us. We just launched Few, but it's, again, going back to me always enjoying working with David, Arlton, people I care about. Now I get to work with them on a daily basis, which obviously makes me quite a bit happier more often. So, there's still times where it goes back and forth because, like I said, it's a struggle. But I'm overall happy in some form. I feel successful in my definition of it. Again, Few, that's what was launched this year. It's beautiful for passionate people. We do mobile iOS development, design, web development. So it's been cool. And we do some internal startup stuff, again, tagless. But it's funny this year. It's the largest conference we've had thus far. So we planned all this before Few or any of that, but I really look at this year as kind of a celebration in a way. Biggest conference we had. It's been doing well. I mean, Made by Few is really how that got started, and through our journey is how all of this came about. So I'm really excited to have a 2-day event this year. We're bringing in twice as many speakers and 3 parties, so that's always a plus. One of the parties that is going to be the first night after the first day of speakers, which is on the 22nd. We have Design by Few, this is our 2nd year of that. We picked 3 designers out of submissions, and out of, I guess we have, how many submissions did we have this year? Yeah, something like that. So we picked designers that show kind of a different style, good breath, like have different processes, and we hang out. The crowd hangs out. We bring in a panel of judges. This year we have my friend Shane Amertano, who is originally from Little Rock. He has a fashion startup in LA, so he's going to come and judge. He's also a designer, and that's how I met him, is in design school. And Jesse Hora, the guy I mentioned earlier, that we had that conversation, he has an agency called Mate in Chicago. So they're doing really cool stuff. And then last year, our winner, Jeremy Tiff from Black Box Labs. So we, during this event, we're all hanging out, there's music, we're socializing, but we're rebranding a nonprofit, but the designers have screens, probably this size, behind them showing their entire process of that development of that branding. At the end, it's posted, the judges make a decision who wins. But it's not really about the winning, losing. It's more about everybody getting to see within that process what they think about, and just it's just interesting to see things you may not be exposed to, and then for other designers, how other people work. So it's been a cool event, and I'm happy that we've doing it again this year. So this year, what's going on in a couple weeks is obviously our biggest event so far. It's going to be at the Argenta Community Theater, is where the speakers will be presenting. We're bringing in 11 speakers this year. You can see the two people in the red are actually tied to Arkansas. John Allison is the founder of Customer.io. Anybody familiar with Customer.io at all? Okay. It's awesome, and it's cool that he's from Arkansas and doing awesome stuff and coming in to speak about his experiences. And then Gina, she's a senior project manager at Salesforce, she's not from Arkansas but lived in Jacksonville for a little bit, so she knows all about the Arkansas culture and how we, how Arkansas is. So it's cool that she's outside the state and doing awesome stuff. And somebody remind me to explain James White. I have him kind of set apart. I think it's a funny story about Made by Few and what Arlton sprung on me last year. Yeah, these are the companies that we have brought so far. This year, Mark Himian, who is a senior UX designer at Google's coming in. We have somebody from Maya. Let's see. I'm really excited about the Birchbox. Somebody's coming in from Birchbox. It's going to be great. Let's see. Relevance does amazing design work. So he's going to give a great talk. So yeah, it's just cool to be able to bring these companies and people that represent them to Arkansas, see what we're about, talk to us, and us bounce ideas off. And one of the reasons that Made by Few is a little bit different is, for the most part, we make these speakers available. So they usually hang out within the parties, or you can actually have a chance to have a one-on-one conversation with these people. So it's a really cool, very intimate experience. So it's great. So again, I want to say, for anybody today that would like to register, we're going to offer $50 off any registration. So if you are interested, just get with me or Arlton today at the event, and we'll give you a promo code, and you guys can register and get $50 off. So yeah, I think other than that, yeah.
Awesome. Give it up for Gabe. And one thing I want to say is this conference has made a huge impact on our community. It's really something that I think, especially kind of in our sphere of people interested in startups, it's huge to have those types of folks coming in and talking. So thank you for that. Who has the first question? Let's see. Anyone? David? No?
Okay, so James White, thank you. So James White, like I said, he was, when I was in school, was a very, I was looking at blogs and I found his stuff and I was really intrigued and really followed his career and his style for years, and I really enjoyed the fact that he, in many ways, found what made him happy. He was working at an agency and he broke off and made his own thing, doing illustrations all based off video games in his childhood, and it's been really big. He did a Drive poster that was a huge cult following. Like, people would actually print it off and replace their Drive DVD cover with that. It was interesting. But anyway, he came and spoke last year, which to me I was already just like, oh my god, this is crazy. So we have a Q&A question much like this after everybody that speaks, and I'm listening to James talk, and I get a text from Arlton. He's like, oh hey, by the way, you're going to do the Q&A. So I start jotting down questions, and I get up there, and it was the scariest / exciting moment of my life, I guess. And it was just because it was crazy, and it went well. One of the coolest things that happened after that was James. He actually came in from Barcelona, came to Made by Few, and had to leave shortly after to go to Adobe Max. He actually sent us a message, I think, when he landed for Adobe Max. Was like, I really enjoyed the conference. I want to come back. And he cleared the schedule this year to come and actually be able to hang out with all of us all weekend. So for me, and him being somebody I've always looked up to, was an amazing, it was mind-blowing to me, but it's awesome. But yeah, thanks again, Arlton, for throwing me up there, and I had never talked in front of people in my life either, so that was really interesting.
Next question. Anyone? I've got a question. So, conferences seem to be kind of a trending theme across the United States, and I think it's really cool. It's something that kind of exemplifies a lot of our culture here in the United States. Can you compare this to, like, what is Made by Few comparable to, like, that we'd see in maybe other cities, or are there other cities that have something similar?
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different conferences. I mean, conferences they're kind of the same in a way. I mean, they all have overlapping themes as far as how to talk and all that. I don't know. I really like the stuff they did with LessConf and things like that. Our friend Alan, which it was more of an intimate experience. It's not just talking and then speaker leaves, and they really do a really good job of creating that community and that kind of intimacy between that community, the people watching and the speakers, involving and engaging with them after the speaking. So I think that's something that I'm happy that we're kind of in the same route with.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's us seeing like some of these events pop up in other communities. Some of them, really bring out the community that they're from, and that's one thing that I think I've seen with Made by Few. And so I think it's really interesting because I think didn't Arlton have experience helping out with LessConf? Yeah,
Alan's that's what Arlton did, and he gained a lot of experience with working and actually organizing one of their events. So probably that was a good experience for us, and kind of to see how it works and how he ran that conference and how they did that. So,
how many attendees have y'all seen come from, like in the past, have come from outside of Little Rock or Arkansas area?
I mean, it's funny. There's quite a few people. In fact, last year there's a conference called UX Mad. They drove from, is it Washington? Oh, it's Wisconsin. They literally had a RV that a good bunch of them just piled in and drove and parked outside of Arlton's house and drove pretty much cross country to come hang out. And this year we've had people come in from New York, Base Camp. So it's drawing in quite a few people from outside the state as well. Some of the designers that we're looking at right now as well for Design by Few are also from out of the state. So we've had quite a few submissions from there.
Lucas Deem with Retro Cat Media. So what do you think the long-term effects, like community-wise, are for something such? I mean, it's a 2-day event, but I know that the implication is that you are doing something for the community. Can you just speak on that for me?
Yeah, I mean, community is a huge thing for us, and I actually, as Jordan spoke on before, we both moved back around the same time. I was in Fayetteville, and I came back and I just saw so much community being developed here, and obviously that's what we want to do. We want to be able to have that have some conference that's more geared to a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, there's other conferences as well that's awesome to have going on, but yeah, it's hopefully adding to the community, because I think it's something in its kind of growing state right now. So we're hoping to add as much and at least bring in and retain as much talent to help that keep evolving. That's kind of what we're wanting to do.
Justin Horner with Politipol. Is this a once a year thing, or are you guys going to be expanding? Because I'm from Northwest Arkansas, we don't have anything like this. Would love to have something like this up there.
Yeah, right now it's kind of an annual thing. I think from what I understand, it's really cool to have that within 1 year. First off, it's crazy to plan it. Arlton can vouch on that. Yeah, it's within a whole project in itself and beyond. Like it's insane. So I think we're happy with doing it one kind of large event every year that allows us to actually have bigger events, bring people, promote it longer. We're thinking about doing some more events next year with Design by Few, having quarterly ones. Obviously getting more exposure for designers, and then having the 3 winners of the 3 prior ones compete at Made by Few. So.
Mike Steele. Hey, Gabe. How are you?
What's up?
Hey, I mean, you know, several of us sit around and talk about this a lot, and it's essentially this goal to make Little Rock known as the most creative city in the South. I mean, this is bar none. We got a lot of cool people. My beard's not big enough. I'm working on it.
We got some fake beards at the office.
Yeah, you do have some fake beards. So, can you talk a little bit about that creativity in Little Rock and what you see? I mean, a lot of people tell me we got all these great creative people. What the heck can we do with them?
You know, we do. I literally made the decision to move back after hanging out with Arlton to see, and you know, I'm just surrounded by a lot of creative people. There's a culture here that I find really interesting, and there's a lot more people and a lot of people geared to more handcrafted art that I find really interesting, and obviously has always affected what we do digitally. So I'm really excited to have events like Splice, you know, and I think that's bringing in that culture and starting to kind of involved in some of the stuff we're doing in this entrepreneurial digital world too. I think that's valuable. But you know, with some of the stuff going on between AVC, with Few, the corridor, all the stuff on Main Street, I think we're going to be able to bring a lot of creative people, hopefully retain and keep them here, and get them really involved in what's going on, and see that they could be part of the group that's really, you know, we're changing things and moving forward, and I think that would be an interesting thing for most creatives here.
That actually just made me think of something else. You guys recently did kind of a engaging type activity with Noble Impact, which I think is one of the coolest things going on in our community.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about what y'all did?
Yeah. So David's been talking with them a little bit, and what they're doing over there, I think it's great. It's giving the kids an actual real world experience with business development. They're wanting to get into actual development, and I really am working on something to bring in the design element to converge, or at least getting those mindsets talking at a younger age. We had them come up to the office and just kind of gave them our story a couple weeks ago, and it was really cool. They were really engaged, had a lot of questions. But yeah, I think what they're doing there is going to be great. We can get those mindsets to merge so young.
I think that's amazing, especially because, you know, what you've done is with Made by Few, and, you know, talking about culture and everything. Those kids are some of the most important ones that you are now giving back to,
Right.
and they're growing up here and they're getting experience here. You know, hopefully they'll stay here.
Right.
If
And
not, they'll care about our community.
Right, and it's funny, to that point, I was on Facebook this morning, and Graham Cobb, I saw something he posted, and I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something about, to the future, it's not for us to foresee, but it's for us to create or enable. So I think we are enabling that community, and hopefully that future for these younger kids to obviously be involved in later, when, you know, some of the things that we're involved in now weren't there when we were younger. And I think that's going to be important for this huge movement on bringing in talent and growing this development and creative community.
Right on, dude. Right on. Well, that's all the time we have for questions, but like we do every single week, we always end with one thing that our community can do to help you as an entrepreneur, and Made by Few and everything else you're doing. So what's the one thing we can leave with today that will help you the most?
I think it would help the entire community. Just keep forging yourself and being nice.
Nice. I like it. We'll give it up for Gabe. Thank you, Gabe.